What a great day to start, too, though, right? Friday the 13th, and you guys are going to be heading down to Florida and a couple of big games down there to start off your season. But we saw new uniforms being unveiled on Twitter the other day, the camo uniforms. Can you kind of fill in our listeners on what those are going to be about this season?
Well, a lot of people had gone to the camo a little bit, and Dave Hickey, who was so supportive administratively, everybody, and we talked about it, and he came to me, and it was his idea, saying, hey, let's go ahead and move forward with that, work through Brad Wackler, your sport administrator, and that got the whole thing rolling. Then it was how we were going to unveil it. With social media, we had to do it a certain way, and I thought the guys presented it really well, and the guys are excited. And we plan on that being our Sunday uniform, and really looking forward to being into it, and want to play well in it. That's the big thing. I love your new uniforms and all that, but if you don't play well in them, then that doesn't solve all your problems.
Well, and it seems like that's kind of a trend. If you can have cool uniforms in all of college sports, the players really love that stuff. What was their reaction when they saw the camouflage uniforms unveiled? Well,
they had seen them before. We had showed them in the clubhouse and kind of told them our plan. But the first time they saw them, they were really excited. And you're right. They're right. We want the guys to, hey, they're a Division I athlete. They work hard hours. You guys know that. You guys do the same thing in your line of work. And so, we're looking forward to putting them on. And again, you're always representing the C. I mean, that's really what it's all about. You're representing the C, you're representing the university, and that's going to just aid and go forth with that.
Now to get down to a little bit of baseball, X's and O's wise, talk about the offense a little bit. You got a lot coming back. Alex Borglin, Cody Leichman, Tyler Hunty, a lot of guys in that lineup that had some success last season now returning. What's kind of the outlook for you guys moving forward this year?
I think the big thing I look at is that we do have a lot of guys back. Just having them back doesn't make you a better team. But that being said, I think they want to be a better team. I think they understand how close we were last year to winning the conference. I think there's some unfinished business they want to. We don't talk about it every day, but I know deep down that's what they want. We got a team that can run a little bit. We got Logan and Nick Rigner that can run around the outfield defensively, but also can run offensively on the bases. You're right. Borgie played really well. At the end of the season, we expect him to pick up for where he left off. Tyler needs to duplicate the year behind the plate, and I tell you what, I don't want to think the expectations are too high. Just go play. Mm-hmm. Let's just go play. We have some guys that are in place. Everybody take care of their own business. Let's be about the team. Let's do whatever you need to do to help this team get a W. That's really been the focus. If we can keep perspective on that, we think we'll be better defensively, and that was a little bit of Achilles' heel. Pat McKenzie and Tyler were both named captains last year as juniors, so there's some leadership there, and there's also some other guys that have leadership qualities too. Just because they weren't a captain last year doesn't mean they weren't, having those leadership qualities. And so we're kind of excited, on that part of the ball, the offensive part, and how we run the bases. We do have some things to figure out on the mound, but the stable isn't barren either.
Well, we talk about so many guys back offensively, yet you're going to bring in your freshman players, and I don't know necessarily how they're going to fit in, but when you see what they've given you in fall ball, who do you see or how many guys do you anticipate contributing from that freshman group?
Well, you have a couple guys for sure that we think are going to play. Obviously Zach McKinstry he's going to be in the infield, and let's be honest. I think he's going to start at short on day one. I mean, he's earned that. He's a good player. Borgie's going to probably slide over to third and be over there a little bit more. Now that doesn't mean Borgie can't play short. He finished short last year. You still got Adam Collins. You still have Mo Beans. That can play a little bit at third. And then. So we have some other guys. Joe Houlihan's back. He's healthy, and we think so we got to figure out roles for everybody, kind of like last year. But we have some pieces of that puzzle are in place a little bit. Daniel Jipping, we think he's going to contribute. When and exactly how, because of the outfield situation, we don't know for sure. But that being said, he continues to get better. We got to get some at bats to see what he can do. It's just a matter of when.
Joined right now by the head coach of the baseball team here at Central Michigan, Steve Jaksa. Their season getting underway this upcoming week down in Fort Myers, Florida, in their fall ball schedule and their non-conference schedule. And, Coach, you touched on it just for a moment there about not bringing as much back on the mound as you're doing in the starting lineup. You lose Jordan Foley, you lose PK. What's kind of the starting rotation going to be looking like, and what's your expectations for those guys this year, especially with a guy who had some experience last season in a freshman last year, Nick Deeg, maybe becoming the main arm in that rotation this year?
Well, again, you got to win 2 out of 3 to win a series, okay? But it's still important to get that Friday guy and make sure you get off to a good start because, Friday to Friday, you win that first one, then you got to win 1 out of 2. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit. So yeah, that's going to be a great matchup, and we project Nick's going to start and be the Friday guy. We think he can do it. He showed that last year in that 3-hole. When he was a 3-hole guy that he could do it. He's he played out in the Cape. Not that alone, but he's got some experience. He understands, and he just needs to stay focused on what he's doing, 1 inning at a time, literally 1 batter at a time. Coach Ope does a great job with the pitchers. He's been with me for a long time, and we bumped him up to associate head coach, much deserved, and at the same time, the respect that we have for each other, and then that trickles down into the players. So we like where Nick Deeg is as we speak today. Adam Alderud is going to throw game 2. He was the midweek starter last year, also pitched on the weekend. He's ready to be slotted in there, so he'll pitch, game 2. Game 3 will be Jordan Grosjean, okay? So that's kind of where we're going with that one. He was a freshman last year, didn't get a lot of innings, but he's come a long way. Now, Tim Black, he's a wild card guy, He was all MAC last year. He was closer, kind of came in there and really helped out, Matt Trowbridge. And then we were able to do some other things with Matt as the season wore on. Matt was on the DL there for a while, so Tim really kind of took over. Tim could kind of be a swing guy. And we've kind of talked to him about doing that. But right now, we're going to kind of keep him in that back end. You win 7, 8 innings and don't win the last one, that really doesn't work very well. Tigers always find that out, seems like. It's kind of frustrating a little bit. I don't want to bring that up too loud, but it's really. But you see guys that have good closers, all of a sudden they win that game, and you feel really good about yourself, So Tim's going to say that now we got Sean Renzi coming back, and Sean, he's starting to throw the ball, like we remember back when he was a true freshman. That's good. Then you got some junior college guys sprinkled in there that we're going to develop roles for them. They might start midweek, but we also need them to go in the weekend. Jimmy McNamara is that left-handed arm. Jason Gamble, we expect those guys to do things that they've already done the first 2 years. I'm sure I'm missing somebody that but really, those are guys that are real. You're playing 9-inning games. You're playing 4 or 5 times a week. You got guys for certain roles, right on right, left on left, and then you got to make sure that they're all ready to go. But right now, we left undecided that Sunday slot because it depends what happens Friday, Saturday, because one of those guys I mentioned as a swing guy, if they're not used, we want to make sure we get them used, And then we also on the mound, have a freshman and Pat Leatherman, just like we talked about a couple of position players that, we really like how he was in the fall, his development. At some point, he's going to pitch. Exactly what role and how, that'll be established by once we get going in the season. That's kind of what we're excited about. Time to get going. Time to figure out our roles, but if we go in there with the attitude I talked about at the beginning, now I'll take my chances.